Hello, everyone, and welcome to From Surviving to Thriving, where we don't just talk about the pretty stuff in business, we talk about the everything in between, the struggles, the mindset shifts, and everything else that you can think of. My name is Robin Carr. I'm your host. I'm an award-winning motivational speaker, author, mindset coach, and the founder of Thrive Unapologetically, where we love you just the way that you are. And today I am so excited to have with me Catherine Wilkinson. So, Catherine is the founder of the OET, which is the online English teacher, where she both teaches others how to learn English and also how they can make an income helping others too learn English. So, Catherine, thank you so much for being here with us today. And I'm very curious. So, what inspired you to start this incredible work that you do?
Oh, well, thank you ever so much, Robin, for having me here. I'm really excited to be here and share the journey and help others along the way. So, like most people's journey, it wasn't something that was necessarily mapped or planned out. It's more of a case of I kind of fell into it. And for me, it was when I had my first child and I was working in a school and I thought, okay, this is great, but now it's probably time for me to actually develop some sort of career. So I went down the teacher training route as that seemed like the next natural step. And then I fell pregnant with my second child. Was able to complete my qualification, but how the school year falls in England, I'd had my second child in the August, and 2 weeks later, the school term was due to start. So
Mm.
I wasn't in a position to go and get a full-time job. So I had this qualification. I thought, oh God, what am I going to do now? And I'm at home. I love being a mum to two very young children, but I thought, I'm very career driven and I wanted to do something meaningful. And so I was doing a bit of a Google and I came across teaching online. And I thought, oh, this sounds interesting. Let's give that a go. And that was back in 2017. And I've been in the industry ever since. So it was, a meant to be path, but it wasn't something that I necessarily planned from the beginning. And from there, I fell in love with the industry, the connection that you could have with students halfway around the world from you, the cultural exchange. It was just amazing. So I did all the things. I taught with different companies. I did teacher training. I went private, built my own resources and curriculum, but it still wasn't enough. And I wanted to help even more people. So the OET, what it is now, is it provides printable resources already made, done for you, so that families can afford the education for their children, but it's a bonding experience. So families can learn together with my resources, learning English at home through stories and play. So it's really exciting. Um, and then obviously I had people coming up to me saying like, oh, hey, I've seen that you do this. How do I get into that? So I thought, oh, maybe there's something in that. Maybe I could help other people also work from home with their young kids. So that's where the teaching side comes into play as well, in terms of helping support other people start their own business, teaching ESL online as well. So it's quite a lot, the two different sides, but I love keeping busy. I love helping people. And this is what the OOT's turned into today, which is super exciting.
That is absolutely incredible. So, I love all of that. And I have to just say that I feel like you have to be such a special person um, to have the heart to want to do those things. So, I mean, that's just amazing. I'm just proud of you for that.
Thank you.
Um, but I can imagine that with all of the awesomeness and like teaching people both to learn and to educate, like I imagine that there still has to be some challenges. So tell us about like what are some of those challenges and kind of some of the steps that you take to overcome them or to cope with them or whatever you do.
Of course. And in everybody's business, you're going to have the ebbs and flows, the highs and the lows. It's just a natural part of the process and the growth that we go through. For me, it's obviously it's quite a lot to juggle. I'm not just running this business, but I'm working from home and I home educate my two children as well. So, they're present with me all the time, juggling their activities, this, that, and the other. So it's a bit of a a boundaries juggle, I suppose. So splitting that time between, okay, it's kids time, home ed, mum time, that kind of thing, versus, all right, you've had your activities, you've done this, that, and the other. Now do something independent, and I'll get like an hour or two during the day to be able to work. And then quite a lot of my work actually happens once they got to bed. So there's that kind of side of it with the juggles and things. But it's also, I suppose, when you're going through the building stage. So with a business, it's not just going to take off on the ground, from day one. It does take time to build that audience, build the trust, find the people that actually, will benefit from your help and the resources and the coaching that you can provide. That does take time. And I think probably one of my biggest challenges is more of a mental challenge of being patient, waiting, doing the right work, but waiting for that growth to happen
Mm-hmm.
rather than my natural impatient instinct of, okay, I want to see results now. Right?
Because you're human.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to see results so that you can work on, analyze that and work and build on that. But it that does take time. So I think that's probably my biggest challenge is not, juggling everything or having two sides of a business. It's actually, an internal mental challenge of, okay, do the task, focus on XYZ on my list rather than where I need to be or where I want to be in 6 months or 10 years time. Do the things that matter now to see that growth and just learn to be a bit more patient.
Absolutely. No, I love the authenticity of that answer. Like that wasn't rehearsed at all, and that was fantastic. So
I think everyone goes through the same thing, don't they? But it's you need to be honest and put yourself out there so that other people understand, oh, this is actually a normal emotion I'm experiencing right now.
yes, 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 yes. And so I love that you already kind of talked about results, but let's talk about the other side of that. Like not the you have all the money right now and everything is fantastic side, but those like micro wins. So when you are either teaching someone English or when you are training them to teach someone English, what are those micro wins? What do they look like? Like, is it like, okay, this person can now read and write and now like that's a win? Or is it more of like this person just wrote a short story or I don't know. What's that look like?
Yeah, it's very similar to, as a teacher, what you're kind of expecting from your students. So I specialized in teaching children.
Hmm.
And you weren't same with business. You need to not expect them to be able to read just like that. Like it's going to take time. So it's those little moments where you've taught them something, several classes in, you've had to try different strategies, different ways of teaching them because it's just not clicking, there's something not working out. And then it's all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's how they do it. Da, 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 and they get it. And then it just flows. It's that what we call a light bulb moment,
Hmm.
isn't it? And it's those parts that I just loved the most because then you feel like it's really rewarding. You feel like you've made a big impact, even though it's so small in the grand scheme of things. You're making such a big impact at that moment to that child. So when I was teaching live classes, that would be like the biggest thing I loved then. But that also translates still into what I do now when I'm helping coach other people to become
Hmm.
teachers, when they get that first, like they send me the message, oh, I got my first job. Yay. That's so exciting. I'm not
Yes.
getting anything from that. But for them, that's the start of their career, which is amazing. It's just, you just feel so proud that they've worked so hard to get there. And the same with, my resources and helping families teach at home. When I've been able to provide something that maybe they couldn't access a live class because it's unobtainable, they're not able to afford that. So then my principal can help them at home do something exciting with their children. And they've said, oh, my kid really enjoyed XYZ activity. Like, again, it's that uplifting moment of like, yes, what I've done is really meaningful and it's made such a difference to that person. Again, not the grand scheme of things. I've not changed the world. But
Not
for
yet.
that family, I
Yeah.
have changed something. I've done something positive that, is going to help them. So it's the little moments, I think, that we have to really focus our attention on, because they snowball and they just make the journey much more pleasant, much easier, and much more positive along the way.
Yeah, no, that is so amazing. And you're absolutely right. And it does make a huge difference. Like I said, I'm a motivational speaker. And so when I see that shift happening in a room, like I know the exact feeling that you're talking about. And there is no feeling that compares to that. So absolutely right there with you.
It feels magical, doesn't it, when you're just like, yes, this is a wow moment.
Except I have to stop myself because on stage I want to be like, "Ooh, I just saw your face, like you get it now," and I
Yes.
can't. I mean, I do sometimes, depending on the audience, but probably shouldn't. Anyways, um, so for everyone listening, what is one piece of advice that you would share, either from something that you've learned or like just a solid piece of information that keeps you going, like just anything that's on your mind you want to share?
So many little nuggets, aren't there, that you learn along the way. And this one's probably going to be quite a general piece of advice, but for me, I do have to remind myself quite a lot of the times. And if I did let this get in the way, then I wouldn't have grown at all, and I wouldn't even be
Mhm.
here today, like on this podcast. But it's to not let the fear control you. So we're human, we're built to have this fear in place to protect us. So it's a natural emotion, but sometimes it's irrational.
Mhm.
So for example, um, I was reaching out to different charities, and there was one charity that I wanted to collaborate with, but they were a lot bigger than what I am. So it felt like this little fish going after the big fish. It was quite scary. But instead of letting the fear control and be like, oh, nothing's going to come from this. I'm a nobody. It's not going to get anywhere. I should just, back off. Instead of listening to that inner voice, I thought, well, what's the worst that can happen? They just don't reply to my email, right? Well, I sent the email, scared, but I sent the email. I did it anyway, and we had a call, and he was so like with the director, and he was so positive about my work and the future vision that I have, and chatting with me about this, that, and the other. It was just amazing experience, and I wouldn't have had that high if I'd have let the fear of like talk me out of doing that. So my biggest advice is to think about those inner thoughts rationally. Is this a rational fear that I'm having right now? Is this going to cause me harm? Well, in your business, probably not. The worst that's going to happen is that you either don't hear back from someone or they say no. And then you move on to the next opportunity, and you just don't give up at that first hurdle. And as long as you keep going, that's going to have a compounding effect, and it's going to work in the end.
Yes, 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 yes. All the yes. Absolutely love it. Could not agree more. So one last quick question, and this is, I think, the most important one.
Ooh.
If anyone listening today is like, yes, I love everything that you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. This is really awesome work that you're doing. How do they get in touch with you?
Well, yeah, if you've enjoyed what you've heard today, then you're more than welcome to get in touch. I love hearing from people. You can either email me directly, but the best way is probably via my website so that you can learn more about what is available on offer. And that's theoet.com. And on there, I have obviously the side for families who are wanting to help their children learn English. But I also have the teacher side, so you can click whatever's relevant for you. And on both parts of the business, there is a free membership. So for families, I've got a free membership with some printables that you could download right away and get started at home. There's no cost or anything there. And then for people who are like, oh, okay, like teaching ESL sounds quite interesting. Maybe this is something that I could do from home. Again, there's like a starter membership. It's all free, and it just takes you through like what the ESL industry is, whether it's the right choice for you, what transferable skills you might already have, things like it's like a nice kind of grounding foundation point before you then like invest in that kind of career. So that's the best place to find me, really.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being here. This has been absolutely incredible. And enlightening a little bit. Um, so for everyone else out there who's listening, thank you for spending your time with us here today. And always remember, if you're in the middle right now, I want you to know this. You're not behind, you are becoming. And that is what thriving really looks like. Bye, y'all.
Thank you, Robin. Bye.